Students, good morning. How are you all? Okay, I hope all of you are safe and fine. Yeah, ma. We just continue today. We continue today with social class, ma. Social, ninth class, ma. Okay, students, get ready. Take your textbooks in your hands, ma. So, in the previous class, the first lesson, ma, the earth. The first lesson topic is the earth. Okay, we started chapter 1, ma. So, in the previous class, day 4, that is day 4, what we discussed. We discussed about the layers of the earth. What are the three layers? The three layers are crust, mantle and core. Crust, mantle and core. And I told you, what do you find in crust? What do you find in crust? So, when you come into crust, we get what you get? We get different kinds of rocks. Coming to mantle, we get chemicals called silicilates. Okay, we get chemicals called silicilates. Coming to crow is divided into two types, outer crow and the inner crow. Outer crow and the inner crow. So I told you, okay, in the outer crow, what we get? We get liquid metallic materials like nickel and iron. Coming to inner crow, we get heavy substances. Okay, we get many substances like gold. Heavy substances like gold. So now we'll continue the class. Take it as day 5. 2721. Okay, ma? So, all are ready? Take your pencils, students. Take your pencils. And I think you all watched the previous class which I sent you all. The layer of the earth. I sent you a DG class. And moreover, again, I sent you a class regarding the volcanoes. Did you enjoy classes? Did you see it? Okay, send me what's your opinion regarding that. Okay, ma? Okay, we continue. Interestingly, matter from deep inside the mantle shoots up to volcanoes. So very interestingly, the matter from deep inside the mantle shoots up to volcanoes, comes out through volcanoes and fishes on ocean floors, and cools down to form the earth's crust. And here it cools down to form the earth's crust. In many regions on the earth part of the earth crust enters into the mantle and once again becomes molten. Okay, ma? This constant process of formation and destruction of the crust, the main process of formation and destruction of the crust becomes molten. This constant process of formation and destruction of the crust explains the fact that our earth is still active. I sent you a DG class. You all saw the class. Now also the earth is active. The crust on which we live is still being changed by earthquakes. The crust on which we live is being changed. Why? Because of the earthquakes, volcanoes, separation of land, and rise of mountains. Due to the process happening deep down the earth. Main causes the process happening deep down the earth. Now we come. Movements of the earth's crust. This is very, very interesting one. Movements of the earth's crust. The shape and positions of the continents may seem fixed at the time. The shapes and positions of the continents may be seem to be fixed at the time scale of human experience. However, when you look at how old Earth is, continents have moved, collided, merged, and then been torn apart, again been removed, torn apart again. Mountains have risen and been raised to the ground. Mountains have been risen, and again mountains came back to the ground. Okay. Oceans have formed and dried up. Oceans are formed. We have the 5 oceans now, formed and dried up. Valleys have been carved, and so on during course of Earth's eventual history. This is the history of the Earth. In the early 20th century, a German meteorologist and geologist, Alfred Wegener. What is his name? Alfred is a German. What was he? He's a German. His name is Alfred Wegener. Introduced the theory of continental drift. To describe and partially explain the present arrangements. To describe and explain the present. Partially means what by a part. Partially explain the present arrangements. of continents and ocean basins. To explain the partial part of the continents and the ocean basin. He postulated a massive upper continent which is called Pangaea, Greek for old land. What's called as Pangaea? Greek for old land, Greek for old land. After having existed 220 million years ago and then breaking it apart into several large sections, then again it broke apart into several large sections. He suggested that these sections move away from Earth each other over millions of years. So these sections again they move apart. They move apart. Some continents collide with others. So whatever collide, they bang against others. They are still moving around. See the places changing. The places are changing. Pangaea is a hypertential continent from which present continents originate by the drift of measure area of the present. Wagner hypothesized that the supercontinent of Pangaea broke up to form what different we can say now present North America, Greenland, and all of the Eurasian north of the Indian subcontinent. India is a subcontinent. Okay, Gondwana land present is South America, Africa, Madagascar, India, Arabia, Malaysia, East Indies, Australia, and Antarctica. So these are you have to be careful, by this topic, These two blocks were separated by a long, shallow inland sea called the Tethys Sea. So it was separated by a sea. By a long, shallow inland sea called Tethys Sea. Okay, these two blocks are separated. In the middle we have the Tethys Sea. It took millions of years for the continents to reach the present shapes. Okay, it took not only 1 or 2 months, it took many years for the continents to reach these present shapes and positions on the globe. Even today, many of the continents are moving very slowly. Today also, many continents are moving slowly. Pushing with each other. They are moving. The continents are moving slowly. That's why we say the earth is active. Okay, pushing each other. We will read about this in greater detail in the next chapter. So we will read about this in the next chapter. So here we can see it clearly. So this is what we can read about. Okay, ma'am. So natural rhythm of the earth. Here you find here some. Again we can see about the earth currents. We can say lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and the biosphere. These are the 4 spheres. The explanation is very, very, very interesting, very interesting. So this is today what we have seen, we see the Earth's grid system. So as long as now we stop it here. I will continue the class next period, because topic is completed here. Earth's topic is completed here. Today, students, you see in the previous class, you all drew. So I'll send you all the layers. We just recall once more. So what are the 3 layers? 3 layers of the Earth? The 3 layers are crust, mantle, core. Crust consists of various rocks. Mantle consists of chemicals called silicates. Core divided into 2 parts, inner core and the outer core. Coming to the outer core, you get there liquid metallic metals like nickel and iron. And in the inner core, we find iron compounds and heavy substances like gold. This you have to buy here, students. This is guaranteed for 4 marks question. It's very important. Then coming again to the movements of the Earth's crust. This I'll send you all your video class, You all can see and enjoy it. And today, nothing else, Today, your homework is, you all just take out this thing, the Earth, You all just draw it. See, we have a figure 1.5 longitudes. Figure 1.5. Page number 9, See here we have the 4 spheres given here. The North Pole, South Pole, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere. And here, North Pole 90 degrees and South Pole 90 degrees. Arctic Circle, Antarctic Circle, 66.5 degrees. Coming a Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and the equator. So here let's draw these lines. Okay, and draw it as neat as possible and send me as your homework. Draw it correctly. Draw the longitudes and the latitudes. So it's not longitudes here. Here is shown. Latitudes are shown. What are shown here? Latitudes are shown. Okay, longitudes come straight. So it's not given here. So here we can see the longitudes. So latitudes. So you all write it, draw it carefully and send it to me by WhatsApp, students. See, students, If you have any doubt, no, any doubt regarding the topic, no, regarding the topic, you can directly call me. Call me. If not, message me, ma. So I will respond. So this no problem, students. Take care, bye.